It's a test that has students, teachers, parents, and politicians at odds. It's the new, and ever since it replaced the FCAT, it's been the center of a brewing storm. Today on Central Florida Spotlight, one school district has plans to scrap it, and they hope their idea catches on. Plus, Orlando is #1 in tourism, but also in low wages. What a local organization says should happen to help us step up against poverty. Hi, folks, and welcome to this week's edition of Central Florida Spotlight. We know Seminole County is one of our areas, and really the entire state's top school districts, and lately Seminole has been at the forefront of the testing debate. The test that's slated to replace the FCAT has been highly scrutinized. That's probably an understatement. And today we're joined by two of Central Florida's leading educational administrators, Seminole County School Board Chairwoman Dr. Tina Calderon and Seminole County School Superintendent Dr. Walt Griffin. Thank you both for taking time out of your busy schedules to be here. First, Dr. Calderon, education in Seminole County is an economic driver.
Absolutely. We hear from our families all the time. The reason why they choose to move to Seminole County is because of quality education. But we also are very close with our business community as well. And for major corporations such as Verizon and Deloitte, they made one of their major decisions to relocate to Seminole County based on the quality of education. They want to afford that to all of their employees and also have a great workforce in which to recruit in the future.
Dr. Griffin, I know that your focus is on the students and giving them the highest of educations, but I'm certain in the back of your mind, staying at that high level is a huge part of your job.
It's very important, and we work collaboratively with our business community to make sure that we are offering programs that our students need for their futures. We actually have trademarked something called e-pathways, educational pathways, which ensures us that our business community is actively involved with helping us to determine our programming and course offerings. We have programs of emphasis at every school. We have lots of choice. We've been bold enough over the past couple of years to remove programs that are not relevant for our students' futures.
Dr. Calderon, when you look at the entire landscape, Seminole County is doing well, but still has to follow state standards, which includes the FCAT, which is gone, and the FSA, which is here. And you're not happy with that FSA testing.
Well, we want to allow time for our students to learn and our teachers to teach. When you administer, as we did last year, the FSA exam, it was taking away over 30 days of classroom instruction. When our children only have 180 days to attend school each year, and now that we live in a global society, it is really putting them at a lower tier than many other countries around the world.
Dr. Griffin, when you hear that 30 days out of 180 to take the FSA, get ready for the FSA, and as we sit here today, last year's results are still not known.
That's right. That's very frustrating, and part of our solution is looking at nationally normed tests, because quite frankly, we already have the formative assessments. We already have the data that we need on our students to know what we have to do to inform their instruction, whether they need acceleration, whether they need remediation, what specific areas there are. Having to wait this long, by the time we get this data, it's not going to inform instruction, because we are so far into the mode already for the 15-16 school year. Our solutions suggest test assessments that the results get back to students before they leave for summer break, as opposed to getting them during the summer, or in this case, even into the school year.
And still don't have them as we speak. Right. So there's been a letter that's been written to try to create change.
And back months ago, we asked the superintendent as a school board to ask our commissioner to look at other solutions. This entire discussion started last summer when the and said, we don't want complaints, we want solutions. So our team researched some other options and came up with these nationally normed tests as a good solution for not only our students but our teachers. It would take the testing window down from over 30 days to 4 hours, and that would allow our teachers more time to teach.
Give us some of the examples of the test we're talking about. There are some that are more known than others, and is it a reality to think that our students soon will be taking those tests?
Yeah, first of all, what we did, we looked at at what the state of Florida already had approved in the past for concordance scores. And concordance scores were when students did not do well enough on FCAT, there were alternate tests that could be used. And after taking a close look, we decided to take a deep dive into the Iowa test and to SAT. And both of those tests are aligned to Common Core. Both of those tests would give us the data that we need to inform instruction in a very timely manner. If we went with the computer-based version of the Iowa test, we get the results back in 24 to 48 hours. Paper pencil, 10 days.
And that turnaround is important for the advancement of students to the next grade, or to put them in summer school to brush up on some of the weaknesses.
Correct. The entire reason you offer an assessment is to inform instruction. And if we will not be receiving the results until December for last year's exam, that is not informing instruction, because we've already lost a half of the school year. So we've also lost the window during the summer to allow students to either accelerate or remediate without that kind of data.
All right, when we come back, we'll have more on what Seminole County administrators would like to see the state adopt as a new system for testing all Florida public school students. We'll have that and much more when we come right back. Florida Spotlight, joined again by Seminole County School Board Chairwoman Dr. Tina Calderon and Seminole County School Superintendent Dr. Walt Griffin. We've been discussing ways to improve Florida's testing system, and Seminole has... We've talked about using some national tests that are already there. Dr. Calderon, how much of a reality is that? Because FSA testing has already been paid for. There's a contract with that organization. The state is using that as our assessment.
They are currently, but we're hoping to work collaboratively with our elected officials in Tallahassee to come up with a better solution. We feel that that contract could potentially be broken, and we know this is the fiscally responsible thing to do, to administer a nationally normed test, which is already acceptable in many other measurements around the state of Florida, and that is the solution that we would like to put forth.
Dr. Griffin, we've heard high-stakes testing, and it's not just for the students currently, but also for these companies. And I would think there are lobbyists in Tallahassee that, as hard as you push for change, they're pushing back and saying, wait a minute, we have a contract, we have a lot of money on the line here to make these students take the FSA.
Right, and that's why I think one of the first things we say when we talk to our elected officials, let's use common sense and let's do what's right for children. This is not about big businesses. It's not about dollars. It should be doing what's best for our children and for our families. And we even are to the point where we are saying high-stakes test should not be such that children should have multiple pathways to earn promotion and to earn graduation.
So what's the reality here? In Seminole County, it sounds nirvana to not have to take this test that clearly we still don't have results on. But what's the reality of students in Seminole and elsewhere not taking this FSA?
Well, the reality is we've worked with all of our teachers this year and said, continue to do the quality instruction that you always have done, and we are teaching to the standards. We are not teaching to a test. So at the end of the day, it really shouldn't matter what assessment is given at the end of the school year. Our teachers are actually giving quality instruction to our students each and every day. If we were able to change to another assessment that could be administered in 4 hours, it would just give us time on teaching.
What has been the reaction from other school districts, Dr. Calderon, when they hear what Seminole County wants to do?
Well, this has actually been grown organically. People have heard about our solution, and to date we have about a dozen other school districts that are supporting our Sunshine solution. In addition, we have our county commission that voted unanimously to support the solution, as did our chambers of commerce. So we're very excited to know that our message is getting out there and our community is coming together on such an important issue.
Even has a title, Dr. Griffin, Sunshine Solution.
That's right.
And that is the solution for not just Seminole, but you hope statewide.
That's right. And our hope really is happening. Our hope was to create discussion at all the school districts about testing, and that hopefully all of us can come together and figure out the very best solution.
Where do we stand for testing for our students this year in Seminole County? Is it possible they don't have to take the FSA?
We won't know until the end of our legislative session. Our local delegation, as with all of our elected officials, are in Tallahassee this week for their committee weeks, and I know it is on discussion in many of their committees. And when they come back to session, that is when they would have the ability to actually enact legislation.
You think there's a loophole in there, right, Dr. Griffin?
I think there's an opportunity. The state has allowed us to use some of these tests that we're talking about, some of the nationally normed tests as concordance scores. If they were good enough then, why are they not good enough now?
And they're good enough for private schools, correct?
That's correct.
Yes.
And that allows them to go through commencement, graduate, do those things, so why would it not be good for public?
Well, and I think it's great for our families as well when they're trying to choose where their children should go to school, because I believe in school choice. It is at least allowing these families to be informed when they're looking at test scores that would be relevant and equal between a private school and a public school.
Sounds like you both are passionate here and not going with the status quo. How hard are you all prepared to fight against the corporation behind the FSA that's going to push back just as hard as you are going to try to push?
Yeah, that doesn't intimidate me at all. I think that our job is to educate the people who can make those decisions, and those will be our elected officials, and that's what we are doing. We are sitting down one-on-one with any elected official that will listen to us. We work them through a packet, and we share the data that we have.
And you feel your data proves the point that FSA needs to go?
We're in the education business, and we've spent the time and the research on collecting this data, and we want to share that with all of our elected officials, because at the end of the day, we all serve the same communities. It's what's right for our communities.
And for those who say, wait a minute, how do we know FSA is bad? We also could say to them, how do we know it's good? We don't have the results back yet.
Right. Well, there was a validity study that was conducted by Alpine, and I was a little bit concerned, actually greatly concerned, when I read some of the results. When you were looking at some of those questions being aligned at only 65% to our Florida standards, and you can look at some of these national exams such as Iowa and SAT that are aligned from 90 to 100%, I think that's a better solution.
We appreciate it. Good luck with that. We'll stay on top of this with you.
Okay, thanks, Mike.
All right. Again, thanks to both Dr. Calderon and Dr. Griffin for being here. We'll be back with much more on Central Florida Spotlight after this break.